Is that what's happening? Please tell me. Wow, my day's going weird today. Hi everybody, how are ya? This stream is gonna start a little strangely. Welcome back, everybody, to Building Blocks, where we program Minecraft mods live on camera, and things go wrong, and usually, firstly it's my fault, usually it happens on camera. But tonight is a little different, because I have been working to get the bare bones of 1.16 code for Various Oddities going in order to have it onto the Patreon server that's coming up next month. And as of 3 hours ago, I had achieved a non-zero degree of progress with this. I had managed to get the Marimo into the actual thing, the moss balls. So we have the moss ball, we have the bottle of moss right here, we have a entity right there, there it is, pre-coloring. I did get coloring done not too long ago. For some reason it started off being a pig, I don't know why. We got all of the pride flags in, we got kobold scales in, we got recipes in for those kobold scales, as well as the every single one of the pride flags. There's the recipe right there for making the rainbow flag, and then just cycle it in your inventory. All very straightforward. Here's the agenter flag that we just added by request. And then something interesting happened, and bear in mind, all of this happened after I had so much trouble getting any degree of this working, because for whatever reason, you see example mod way over on the side there, for whatever reason, it wasn't loading that when I set up this 1.16 workspace, and that shouldn't happen ever. Because the example mod literally ships with Forge. It's there when you set up the workspace, so we have like some basis for understanding like where you go from. That existed. It was in the code. It just wasn't being loaded at all, and we couldn't figure out why for the life of us. We had like 4 people at one point working on it. And eventually I just updated Eclipse, and it suddenly started working. Well, I mentioned that I got all of this done. This screenshot right here is from a little under 4 hours ago. I got color for the Marimos working, and then I went to have a shower before stream. And then I sat down to start the stream and set everything up. And now, whenever I try to boot the client, as you will see momentarily, Yep, loading everything. Are you about to load perfectly just to prove me wrong? Probably not. Yeah, there we go. This happens. This isn't even part of my code. It's just decided to self-destruct while I was in the shower. And the only clue I have as to why this is happening is this line right here. Because every time that happens, the whole client freezes. Found status beta outdated current 3601 target 3604. I got anxious because I left. Oh, I wish. So, I'm in a couple different discords with a bunch of Forge devs and Fabric devs and all sorts and whatnot. And apparently, Forge does check if the version of Forge that you are running in your client and whatnot is outdated. According to them, it doesn't break the install when it finds an outdated version. But here we are. So, I have, like, Eclipse version hasn't changed, I have refreshed the code here, I have refreshed the Gradle project, which is another thing they suggested while we were trying to figure out something else. I have regenerated the run configurations, which are how we run the client. All of that. Exact same issue. So as near as I can tell, the only solution to this is to update the version of Forge that we're using in here, which shouldn't ever at all be the problem, but here we are. Like I say, I have, like, screenshot evidence that this worked 3 hours ago. And it decided to break now. Whilst nobody was at my computer, Eclipse wasn't even running. Just happened within the last 3 hours for some reason. Very, very strange. Time to update Forge. Yeah. So at least, I guess, I have something resembling a learning moment if you happen to be, for whatever reason, possessed of the idea that you should set up a 1.16 Minecraft Forge workspace. Because, oh boy. Oh yeah, I tried a bunch of things here. I went back a step, and it still had the same problem with not loading the example mod. I went back to 1.12, it had a completely different breakage. Sorry, bizarre. But anyways. Unfortunately, there's like... Yeah, let me bring this over to you guys. There you are. There's the recommended version, and then there's the latest version on most versions going back. 1.16.5, there is only the latest. I can only presume that that's somehow related to this, but let me download that MDK and I can walk you through the process here. You can tell by the stream title that this was not my intention for tonight, but here we are. According to every Forge dev I have talked to, it is just supposed to work fine when you do it in this fashion, but demonstrably not. Okay, so there is the 3604 MDK, Mod Developer Kit. Surely no kobold has gone here before. You're not wrong. Somehow breaking something beyond the common fix. Oh, I'm breaking it beyond all recognition. But okay, so in here we have all of the source code that I spent the last day making. It's all right in here. There we are, all of that. So now I can go into here, I can delete all of that. I can clear out the Forge directory here. I might just call this Forge. And we're just going to unzip this to a folder, which we will then just name Forge. Okay, so in here there's the basics of everything. Not a whole ton going on there. I'm gonna delete this. Do not delete from there. Project location. That shouldn't be the place. Just refresh that. Yep, that's fine. That's fine by me. That is exactly what it should see. Just get rid of that. Okay. Now, import. Cradle project. Pointed at the forge piece where we just put everything, not forge 2. I have one very simple success state for you here, Forge. Just boot the client and have example mod be in the list of mods. That's it. If I sound especially annoyed, it's because I discovered this had happened literally seconds before going live. So it's just like, it would be fine if it had just broken one evening or something, but it happened to break right before I spent like 3 hours programming live. Oi. Impromptu technical difficulty stream with lying is not something I expected, but it's entertaining nonetheless. I'm glad to know. Truly how the Minecraft sausage is made. Lying making a better version of Froge when. Funny you should mention. When I originally, including actually I think some versions of Yogdwarfs, I did it in Notepad. First of all, I did it in Notepad++. It was terrible, but it worked. And it was what was called a core mod, which is essentially a mod that everything needs to be compatible with, or else the whole mod pack completely breaks. It is like legit modification of the base code of Minecraft. Terraformacraft used to be a good example of one. And I stubbornly Forge for the longest time because I hated the monopoly that it had. The idea that everything had to bend to their standards and such, or else, you know, you didn't get to be a popular Minecraft mod. Then got to a point where it was like, well, if I'm not on this platform, then no one will ever use any of my mods, so I kinda had to do that. So when I started mods for mod packs and mods that had to actually be used by people, I started actually using Forge. More recently, Fabric has come up, but it's still very much a Forge world, so that's just sort of a thing we had to deal with. But can you really tell why I hate this system so much? Patron exclusive paint drawing stream. Yeah, I'll just put like an extra coat on my green screen. So, yep, you just gotta sit through this because it takes an age. Bob Ross paint along stream. I know there was, I think when this wall was originally getting painted, there we go. I've decided to start telling a story, so naturally it must now actually wake up. Okay. So, now that you've gotten your project actually imported into Eclipse there, we just go down to here to fg_runs, because it couldn't be named anything helpful, and we run gen eclipse runs, and that gives us the run configurations that we need. But yeah, I think when I originally had this wall being painted, when we were, like before we even moved into the Vox Den, I did do a quality time with like a time-lapse of it being painted. Fun, because being a green screen, I was able to chroma key the green that was being placed as it was being added to the wall. So it ended up looking like something very different. That was fun. Magic paint, as it were. No story time, only code. Oh, only code according to Eclipse, apparently. Yep, once again, we're just gonna be waiting for this to run. When that little circle there turns green, it will have finished. remember watching this. Yeah, that's one of the few occasions where my dad has appeared in my content. One of very, very few occasions. Because he didn't trust me to do the paint. Of course, I wouldn't be able to do that if I did a theoretical paint drying stream. I wouldn't be able to do that with just a second coat of green, because I wouldn't be able to key it out. I would just key the whole thing. The only thing that you'd see would be like the sunny, the like lighting reflections on the wet paint. That'd be it. Otherwise, that'd be indistinguishable. I could probably do a lot better keying these days, though. There we go. Okay, finished. Let's just give that a quick refresh. Yep, there they are. So run configurations, run client. Again, Forge, I'm asking for you to do one thing. You gonna do it? There is literally none of my code in this workspace right now. Not an ounce. So if it breaks, it cannot be my fault. And I have the distinct sensation it already has. Yep, not responding. Found status beta, current 3604, target 3604, running pre-client work, running post-client work. Whole ton of problems with OpenGL. Suddenly, render buffer not bound, error generated. And then it freezes. Now, this is going to take a substantial amount of trial and error with a lot of people who aren't me to try and figure out what the hell is going on. And you might think, oh, well, that's fine. We'll just go back to the 1.12 workspace. That works fine, right? We'll just keep working on the Broodbringer. With a slight caveat, I'm afraid. Just wait for Eclipse to reboot. Because here we have all of our code. Indeed, I was referencing the Marimo code and everything. All perfectly fine. But if we look down here in the problems section, it got heavily borked when I updated Eclipse to try and get the 1.16 version working. So all of our code is here, checks out perfectly fine. And I haven't tried to run the client here, but I have a sneaking suspicion that part is going to fail tremendously. Let's find out. Yep, already broke. Didn't even try. Class not found. So, to fix this, we'll have to do more or less exactly what we just did that didn't fix 1.16 to try and get a fresh, squeaky clean 1.12.2 workspace, and then we'll import all of our code here into it. And hopefully that'll be fine. But yeah, that's been my day, essentially. I'm also going to include run, because that includes things like our save files, and I'm sure that we don't want to lose baby trans and whatnot. Also be a massive pain in the neck to have to rebuild everything there. Ugh. I'd lose all of my Hive testing zones. But as you can tell, with a larger project, rather than the like 6 files that I had in 1.16, this will take a bit. Whew, in fact, it is currently estimating over an hour. So yeah. I mean, the good news is that we have some degree of development in 1.16. The bad news is I can't even so much as show it to you because the system just decided to explode while I was in the bath. Like, while I was drying my hair, it somehow managed to explode. File transfer stream seems pretty similar to paint drying stream, all things considered. I mean, you're not wrong. Oh, now it's estimating 2 hours. The entire stream is just gonna be this. Ah. Alright. So yeah, I have access to the source code, at least, in 1.16. So I'll hop into 1.16, and I'll walk you through what I've done. Because at least I have some degree of experience now with it, and I can tell you why it's god-awful. This might just be like of lying rants about bad coding practices, but nonetheless, can't wait for this to go on YouTube. Yeah. Well, sometimes it just be like this, I guess. Okay, let's grab ourselves this source code and we'll dump it in. Well, actually, no, we want the Forge 2 source code. There we go. Just dump it in. Replace. And that'll get us the actual stuff we care about. Good. Okay. Let's start with the really, really basic stuff that you literally learn in, like, Programmer 101. And that is how you name things. I can't believe I'm going this low, but here we are. There is a standard in programming that's been there for decades. It is true in damn near every single programming, like, endeavor you will ever see. And that is super to sub naming. I'm calling it that just to give you an idea of superclass or subclass. That is to say that we start from the absolute most basic portion of a piece of code, and then we move to the smallest piece. So, for instance, in the case of our kobold eggs, we say block, egg, kobold. Makes sense. The kobold egg is a specific version of an egg, the egg is a specific version of a block. Super to sub. With me so far? I hope so. And that happens because, like, you need to be able to find things, essentially. Like, the computer doesn't care. Computers, like, the computer has basically no notion of what a given class is called. It doesn't care. It's just binary bits to it. But it's useful for humans, because humans need to be able to find things in the file structure. The file structures, if they are sorted, which, God helping they are pretty much universally sorted alphabetically, A to Z. So if you need to find something, you figure, okay, what's the most basic element of this particular class I'm looking for? It's a block, so I'll check out the blocks, and then there's a big thing of block such and such and such. Okay, it's an egg block, so I'll go to block, egg, and I'm looking for the kobold section of block, egg, so, there you are. Block, egg, kobold. Sensible. Standard. Literally everywhere does this. For whatever reason, I don't know why, I'm presuming that this is Forged blame, they've actually inverted it. So, instead of it being entity pig, for instance, it's now pig entity. And animal entity. And polar bear, and sheep entity, and turtle entity. All of it has been inverted. Which means not a single class reference in the 112 code, everything else aside, is valid in 116, because even if entity bat still exists in the 116 code, it's no longer called entity bat. So like kobold egg block, to take your example, exactly. It's a natural language naming convention, which is not useful inside of programming. Like, just, it's so bad. It's so bad. Like, here is carved pumpkin block. There's a decent example there. Pumpkin blocks come in two varieties, carved and uncarved. Now, if we were trying to find all of the pumpkin blocks, we would think they'd be in one place, right? Well, no, because the naming convention being reversed, carved pumpkin block is here, and pumpkin block is all the way here. Just... oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. But anyways, that is apparently the massive mistake that the Forge devs have made. I'm presuming it's Forge, because I want to believe that a company that is owned by Microsoft would actually follow basic computer program naming conventions. Like, just, Okay, that's the start. Next part. Do you remember how we add mobs to 1.12.2? I'm guessing not, because I haven't shown it on stream, and I presume that everybody here, I'm presuming it's everybody here has, like, no long-term memory, because, hey, that's most people watching on the internet. It's MCP, and it's because Mojang uses that convention? Lance, that cannot be right. Again, this is a company owned by Microsoft, for crying out loud. Microsoft has to know that. Anyways, I digress. When you're setting up an entity inside of 1.12.2, you register the class, you give it, like, egg colors, all that sort of thing. And then that's it. You add a renderer, if you want it to actually look like anything other than a white cube, and you're done. I don't know what the hell went through the minds of people coding this, but in 1.16, there is a feature known as an entity type, which appears to just be a holder class, as near as I can tell, for a handful of properties. And then there's the actual entity model, and your models can also, like, the rendered models can also be something entirely different, and it's like... basically, imagine that we had previously a mob being made of two components. The code running it, and what it looks like while it's doing it. Okay? Now there's three. And I hope a degree of this is a move towards a controller-based system. Because I think that could work, kind of, slightly, with this, and it would make polymorphism way easier. But right now, it's a complete and total mess. Oh, and hey, we finished storing all of our old source code. Okay. There it is. There's all of our source code right there for the current 1.12.2 version. Want a simple entity example? Enlighten me, Lance. Enlighten me. Mojang does stuff like update every entity in the world's Pathfinder on any blocks being changed. Huh. Interesting. I mean, that's just inefficient. That's not, like, tossing out something that everyone gets taught in Programming 101. That wasn't 2 hours. Never trust a computer timer. Anytime you see a progress bar, just assume that it is lying about how much is left. Okay. We've got our world, we've got our source code in here. Those are the two major things that we care about. We don't mind if the configs get hecked up, but they're right there anyway, so it should be fine. There's also, like, 3 years of crash reports in there, but we don't need to worry. Okay, let me grab that, move that out of the firing line. You trust 98's progress? You trust Windows 98's progress bar with your life? That is unwise. Okay. So, VO, Forge, 1.12.2, and we'll even date this because I'm sure Flying will be interested in this. 26, there you are. Okay. Now, delete. Delete contents on disk because we've already backed up all the ones that we care about. I'm probably going to regret this, but I regret most things in my life. So it's fine, this is no different. Mojang has code like updating the logical light level of every single we need an update regardless if they need an update or not when placing a lighting source. Fair. Lighting engine is... Actually, the lighting engine was made by that one mythical douchebag, wasn't it? That might explain a little bit. Okay, we have a 1.12 forge over here in our 16 stuff. Oh, we also have the original version I used, right there. Yeah, so we're having a slight MDK update for the course of this. Okay, extract. There you are, there's Forge, and there's all of the Forge stuff that it did not delete. That's interesting. We did tell it to delete this, but apparently it decided, you know what, nah. Also, there's a version of the source code from December 2019. Let's save that just for posterity over here. I wonder how much space is going to free up on my drives. Oh dear. Like, I never said that Minecraft code was good. I just said that at least it met this basic standard. Super to sub naming. Like the little hat? Oh, thank you. I think that's from like an Easter egg. And the ribbon is also a aftermarket accessory. That'd be entertaining. If we actually freeze the file deletion. There you are. Thank you. Okay. Standard, call that. Stream shouldn't be gone. Hello? Stream is apparently still online according to my end. The broken code 8 line? No. No, according to Discord at the very least, I'm still online. Forge, I tried to fix Forge, so Forge broke me. Wouldn't that be a sight? Okay, yeah, stream is just gone. Huh. Interesting. Am I back? Man, Forge, what a system, huh? What a really robust, interesting system. Okay, we're just gonna do the same thing that we just did, and pray that this works.
And I very much doubt, anyways, that any of the people that I listen to were the first ones to think of a particular progression. So once you get over that, sounding good is easy.
Really a scuffed stream tonight. Oh yeah. According to XSplit, at least I've been live for 45 minutes here, so at the very least, it'll only be the one video.
No one will know.
Yeah, we're just gonna do the exact same thing that we did for 116, because at the very least, this should still work. If not, I've scuffed my entire 112 workspace, and the only thing that I have going for me at that stage will be that I have the source code preserved. So there's example mod right there. There's FG runs right there. Run it so we can get our run configs. Okay, Lance, I appreciate the support, but as I've demonstrated, I'm ahead of that part. Like, I've gotten to the point of creating an entity type, spawning an entity, giving it a custom renderer and everything. And then I went away to shower, and I came back and the whole thing had broken. I have documentation showing that I've managed to succeed at that level.
You start to pick up
I don't know why it doesn't work. Only that it doesn't work, when it worked 3 hours ago.
over and over and over again.
I have refreshed the code, I have refreshed the Gradle project, I have regenerated the runtimes, I have checked that Eclipse is up to date, I have updated on this very stream, in fact, the Forge version that we're using.
It's easy
Doesn't work.
to churn out a lot of songs if you have a lot of different chord progressions in your mind and you know that you
Don't know why. Genuinely could not tell you. Really, really, really wish I could. Come on, I can see that they're right there. There you are. Okay. Just gonna delete. Nope, that's the exact opposite I want to do. Thank you very much. Why is duplicate right next to delete? Who knows? Okay, run client. Has undefined variable MC version. Right. Is the mod not loading or the entity code not loading? The client isn't loading, Lance. It freezes right after the version check of Forge. Yeah, if I had an explanation there. Let's see, undefined variable MC version. Well, oh yes, that's illuminating. Right, I remember this when I was backporting trying to figure this out. So, somewhere in the run config, I think, is a variable for MC version right there. And I think it wants to be 1.12.2, but I don't know because I don't know what this looked like before. So, just gonna put 1.12.2 and see if that helps it. Well, it's getting further at the very least. You just import the MDK and generate run configs, and it should be fine. I have heard 4 different Forge devs tell me, and yet here we are. And this is with an up-to-date Eclipse as well. Okay, this music is gonna be loud, by the by, but it is maxed out by default. There we go. Okay, Minecraft Coder Pack, Forge Mod Loader, Forge, Example Mod. Good, it exists. Do me a favor and tell me that this new version doesn't have inverted naming schemes. Oh, good and glorious. Ah, it's beautiful. Like here, the buttons. That's an abstract source for all the button classes. Directly beneath them is all the button classes because they're all named block button something. This is good procedure. This is how code is meant to look. Ugh, at least object-oriented code. Just most code, these days at least. Okay. Let's take our source code, let's dump that back in. At some point, WinRAR stopped asking me for payment, and it's just started asking me again. I don't know why. I'm cursed. Stop doing Minecraft and capitalize on my looks by becoming an OnlyFans. I might need a bit more up top to be an OnlyFans streamer. Achiro, for that matter, is an OnlyFans streamer something that's allowed on Twitch? Because I would have sworn that was against Twitch terms of service. But yeah, this is what's happened to me today. But at least we seem to have gotten 1.12 working again. So once all of that carries across, we'll be able to just refresh this, we'll have all of our code back in place, and we'll be able to run 1.12 again. 1.16, I don't know what the hell happened to it. As long as I'm not showing anything, I can stream on Twitch and then point to my OnlyFans. I guess? Maybe I should just start making 360 videos on Roblox. I hear there's some kind of lucrative market in that. I hear you can even get put onto Amazon for that. Like, I might know a guy. Every time someone types OML, I know it's meant to be someone, like, kneeling on the ground in despair, but I always read it as Oh My Life. Oh, is it Oh My Life? Alright, oh, OTL, Oh the Loss, that's the one I'm thinking of. Is it not Oh My Lord? If it is, no one ever told me. Okay. Refresh this, we should have all of our 112 code back. Plus example mod now, because it didn't overwrite, it didn't get rid of it. Okay. Very good, let's boot. Start making bank by doing Udemy courses. Oh no. Like, trying to think here. I'm not a pro. I was not educated in how to code, which sounds weird considering I have a degree in computing. But I was already a self-taught programmer when I started that. There is a problem with Forge. What is the problem with Forge? Error 100 of 104. I'm sorry. That's not possible. Oh. Evidently, there were some changes. Ah, it's the Baubles API. Ah, I forgot about Baubles. I don't remember how to put Baubles back in here. Yeah, every single Bauble item that we have is broke. Because it doesn't know what Baubles is. Okay. Lance, real quick, shoot me a DM saying how to add a mod to the dependencies here. Just so I can figure that out real quick, because hell if I remember. So long ago. I'm cursed, time to pack up and go into adult video content. No. No thank you, I do not wish to be in a particularly unpleasant, like, fetish category. Anyways, let me see. I need to download Baubles, logically. This is for 112. Probably should have guessed that Baubles would not be by itself a good enough search term to find what I need. I presume at some point, Lance, you've done something requiring a dependency, so... Baubles. Still hasn't updated since 112. There is one for, like, 116, but it's not, like, the same thing. Hey, everybody! Welcome to this disaster of a stream. There you are. Okay, there's Baubles. And now I need to figure out where the hell I put this again. Yeah, to summarize the past hour, we had working code in 116 that spawned ourselves a Marimo. Had items, pride flags, everything, crafting recipes, yep, all good. And then sometime between about 5:30 this afternoon and when I came back from my shower, not to imply that my shower was about 3 hours long, but nonetheless, the client refused to run. It just would not boot. Just froze on launch. And we tried updating the Forge version we were using. Didn't help. We've tried to go back to 112, but that had similar issues. I went over a little bit about why the code of Forge, or apparently Mojang itself, somehow, miraculously, is really, really bad. But that's most streams, I grant. This is like a programming 101 kind of level. And we're now just trying to reset up our 1.12.2 because it got broke when I was fixing booting 1.16 at all. So, yep. Yeah, there must be a dependency in here somewhere. There's obviously that, but I don't know how to import to this. Do I just stick the jar in there? Is that it? Do I just dump the jar in there? Well, I guess there's one way to find out. So close to getting your pet fox. Stop playing Stardew Valley because this broken forge has got your full attention. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, goody. There's a tutorial. Okay, right, there we are. And this is in the build.gradle. Okay. Repositories. Where are you? Dependencies. Publishing. Manifest. No. Run. Nope. Repositories. There you are. Right. I'll be back in about 10 minutes when I hopefully have this figured out. Hopefully. Not blooming likely, but you know, we live in hope. So, not in the build script. I mean, it's in the thing you sent me is in the build.gradle, so don't know what to tell you. Anyways, go grab yourselves a drink, go grab yourselves a snack, scream into a large plushie, as I will be after this stream, and I will see you in a mo. Welcome back, everybody. So, just before we left there, we were trying to get our 1.12.2 workspace to run again, after it was broken by an update to Eclipse, which we had to do to get 1.16 working, which lasted about a day. And we are now currently trying to get this fixed, but that requires reinstalling the dependency, and Lance hasn't gotten back to me just yet, but I think... I'm going to guess running the client again is probably not going to fix this problem. So I can only presume it's somewhere in here. Probably in the build section if I had to take a wild guess. No doubt Lance is about to jump into the Twitch chat to yell at me to say, no, don't do that, it'll make everything combust and also start World War III and also the end times, because that apparently is just what Forge does. But yeah, so we have rescued all of our 1.12.2 code. So at the very least, I guess I could just find out if any of it, like, has a glaring problem, other than the 100+ issues. World War III Minecraft flavor. It's not just Dream SMP. As far as I'm aware, I don't know very much about Dream SMP. So, yeah. But yeah, a lot of talk about me being cursed, and I can understand it. So here's some interesting things about me. I started programming in... I don't remember the year, and I'd rather prefer not to, but I started programming in Garry's Mod, in a add-on for Garry's Mod called Wire Mod, which specifically was Expression 2, or E2, as it was more commonly known, which was a Lua language, C++. And I got heck all done in that for the longest time, to the point where I joked that it had some kind of actual sentient malevolence towards me personally. And then a little later I started to figure things out a bit more, and I managed to actually start making really complex stuff, including Pathfinders. You can actually find some videos of my Pathfinders on YouTube still. I might even put one out just to kill time here. But then later on, I got started playing Minecraft, and I was most interested in Redstone in Minecraft. I loved Redstone in Minecraft, I still do. But this was before there were, like, repeaters and such. Before pistons, long before pistons, and before repeaters, when the only way to have a signal travel more than, I think it's like 15 blocks, required sending it into a torch twice. But before I got any good with actual redstone, I had a similar problem where it just seemed to not work for whatever reason. So I once again joked that it had actual sentience and malevolence towards me specifically. And I gotta say, I feel like I'm going the same way with Forge. Because it seems like it's doing the exact same thing. I don't, like, especially right now, when there are Forge devs in my mentions saying, like, what the hell is going on, how are you even doing this? It's kind of tempting to believe that it's specifically directed at me, because I literally walked away for 3 hours and it broke. I could not have been more AFK. I was AFC, away from clothing at the time, for God's sake. I know you don't necessarily need clothing to program. Can't say I know that from experience, but I'm presuming. But just, yeah, like, I could not have been more uninvolved. Alright, so let me see if I can pull up one of my old Pathfinder videos. There you are. Yeah, these are 10 years old. Dear God. So incredibly old. Ooh. Okay, let's play these in order. Why not? Clearly my shirt crawled over to the computer and just wrecked shop. I feel like of a clothing item that I have, even like my trousers or my bra would be a bit better able to do that, because at least there's like two ends to that, so they'd probably be able to manipulate the mouse. If we're talking about animate object cast upon my clothing. It's either my trousers or my bra, I'd guess. Anyways. Show and tell. So, this is the Chronoid, which is built for Cronus. The Cronus project was a thing I had that went nowhere, but that's nothing new. But that right there is an Expression 2 chip, which you can program. And I was trying to make an A-star Pathfinder, which there are ways to like tell stuff in Various Mods to move according to the actual built-in Pathfinder, but I wanted something that didn't rely on a map. So that meant actually creating them. These blocks are all just holograms, which was a nice little helpful visual aid. And it's trying to get into a room that's like over here. And as you can see, it just sort of like, it performs the beautiful, pretty kind of ripple that A-Star tends to do, and it doesn't have a direct route. This was version 2.8. It does get better than this. And there it is. At the end. With that triangle. Okay. I'm guessing, yeah, I kind of figured that none of my videos would be in the suggestion. That would suggest that YouTube was working properly. 3D snake, little bit 3D snake, yeah. The blinding white void, yeah, way back when. This is version 3, the release version, because I actually let people use this. So there's 2 GPSs indicating some positions. There's the chip on the left there. This one was giving a very simple task compared to the last one. There we go, just reboot. And off it goes. There we go. So it wasn't keeping all those pieces in memory, it was just actually keeping the ones it cared about, and then it's simplified. Very nice. And it can go a fair ways, this version, as I recall. But I think that's about as long as this one goes, yeah. So just sort of the same thing, you can move it wherever it likes. And it just constantly found its way back. Beautiful, very cute. I've done much more complex stuff now. And let me see. The most recent video on that would be this one, which is from August 22nd, 2010. So more like 11 years old at this point. And this one was very interesting because it allowed the inclusion of waypoints. So if you knew where there was, say, a ladder, there's a little piece there at the top and the bottom, then you can actually tell the Pathfinder, if you go to here, you can go to here. Which is very significant when you're building a Pathfinder. And that basically meant that it knew that if it got to that node at the bottom, it can go to that node at the top. Those two were linked, there's a path between them. Very handy if, for instance, you have a ladder. Not as useful as, like, with a train system, but, you know, it's still kind of there. So off it goes, finding its way. And when it finally gets to the ladder, this is not exactly what you'd want to have in, like, real-time gameplay, but there we go, just hops right up the ladder. Handy and good. Yes, me waving the camera to say hi. Ah, memories. I feel like there was another one. Ah, yes, there was. This one is a little bit more of an actual, like, demo. This is the 2.8 version again, test 2. This is a much more longer range test on a much more convoluted map. Oh, memories, nostalgia. I build way better things nowadays, but just sort of like, this was like my earliest bit of programming career, I guess. Nowadays I can make volumetric room analysis. Even if it does take me like 2 weeks and like, having to say, what if we turned it into a series of cubes on camera? But it gets there. Job's a good one. Okay. According to Lance, I have to rerun Gradle. There's a lot of things that could mean. You figure you want Minecraft to be a series of cubes? I mean, yeah. It was just a matter of I had taken like 2 weeks of trying. I'd spent so much time at that point of throwing things at the wall that it hadn't occurred to me that breaking things down into what we eventually started calling Legos to actually like solve the problem. Such was the case. But then we got it working, and now we have the box room code that handles settlements, and we have the capacity to analyze basically any three-dimensional space in Minecraft and identify areas that we could actually make use of. Pretty nice, pretty nice. But yeah, that's like Gary's mod is how I started programming. And I started to get into core modding in probably my first year of university. Heck if I remember exactly, but something like that. Somewhere around 2009, 2010. And then, let me see, I implemented name tags long before Minecraft ever did. We just sort of been going from there. So I am 100% self-taught programmer. And that means things like I don't know how to boot up. Like, I don't know how to upload stuff to GitHub, for instance. I am terrible at documentation. I have not the slightest clue how to set up anything in Forge or Gradle or such unless someone actually tells me. Refresh dependencies. According to... Well, I guess we just reverse that. Like, that starts, I guess. Workspace failed to change error in the reference Gradle build. Could not fetch model of type Eclipse project using Gradle distribution. Okay. Build.Gradle line 83 is right where we put in the baubles stuff. Prepare runs. No, it's not that part. Build setup in it. Nope. Build dependence. That's a start. Assembles and tests this project and all the projects that depend on it. That's probably a good start. One second. Boy, this is always fun. First answer from Stack Overflow in 2014. Select refresh dependencies in the Gradle context menu that appears when you right-click the project in the Package Explorer. About that. Also, we just tried that and it broke. Something. So yeah, I guess the summary of that whole diatribe is just that I know how to do a lot of things. I just don't know how to get to the point of doing them. Like, I can tell you how to kickstart the Industrial Revolution. I don't know how to tell you how to get the materials to do it. That's an actual legit thing. I can tell you how to make, like, a lot of really significant Industrial Revolution era mechanisms, but I have not the foggiest where and how you get the iron to do it. Like, I would have to come in at, like, chapter 6 of Dr. Stone. Zan, you've tuned back into me saying, well, trying to explain why I can do things like volumetric analysis of, like, rooms in Minecraft, but I don't know how to set up Gradle and such. It's because I was never taught. I was never taught how to do it. Gotta delete this at least. Like, that is useless to us. I'm sure there was a folder in here, but I don't recall what it was. You heard Industrial Revolution, I can get things. Okay. Yeah, I can do a lot of really complex stuff, but I can't get us to the point where we are then able to do it. essentially. I can tell you how to make meticulous clockwork and gears and whatnot, but I can't tell you how to get the iron to make them. Right, this is the only thing in here that it remotely looks like it'll work. So, here we go. Red means it failed somewhere. And it failed. Build Gradle to apply script build Gradle to root project forge. Apparently, everything else seems to have gone fine. Doesn't even say where it broke. Okay, let's see. Gradle.properties. We haven't touched that. Is there a thing with a build path we're missing? There's a thought. There's a long-standing thing of whether or not I have ADHD in addition to my autism, and I can definitely feel the the attention span issues of that coming to play in it at this exact moment. I haven't solved it immediately, so I'll never solve it. That sort of thing. Oh, but I definitely need to change this. What even version would this be? Yeah, I did try getting diagnosed with, I got tested, I should say, rather than saying I tried to get diagnosed sounds like I was deliberately looking for an answer. I was looking for the answer I wanted, that kind of thing. 5.27 they were. But I did try to, I did pursue diagnosis of ADHD in 2020, early 2020. Didn't hear back from them much after that. Okay, so clearly we have to stick that somewhere. Question being, where? Where do we need to put it? I mean, obviously we have to add a dependency here, I think. Add an external jar. That's probably a good start. Not that one, not in there. Would probably help if I actually moved the mobile's jar to where it needs to be. There you are. Okay. Bingo. 0 items. But apparently there's still a problem. Let's find out. It's changed. We'll consider that progress. Change is frequently progress. Whether it's good progress or not is a little harder to tell. Okay. 13 items. Constructor, get player. Apparently still has issues, but they're not errors, which is progress. So let's try booting it. I would like to not be in a position where I have one of these functional at a time, but like I would very much like to be able to directly reference both of these things simultaneously, but you know, here we are. Okay. What have we got in here? Various Oddities 5.2.7. Monster Manual of Minecraft, as we keep calling it. Good. Okay. Let's check a world we care about slightly less. Sleep test. Why not? Oh, we've done a lot of things since I ran this. Hoo-hoo. Hey, we got there. I spawn in staring at a pool of acid. Ain't that fun? Huzzah. Okay. Oh, I remember this. Let's, just... Night-night. Sleep tight. Bit of a fitful sleeper, that one. Safe and sound, able to completely anesthetize mobs. Phew. Okay. Yeah, we are fully back, it seems. Oh, the changeling egg apparently has a bit of an issue, but well, there's 2 of them, that'd be why. Let's see, there should be... Where are you? Let's see, the super barrier. There you are. The missing block. That's not even a texture error. That's what it's actually supposed to look like. Okay. Well, it looks like we are back. Let me try... Yep, there's the decorative shaker. Good. Centrifuge. Yep. Got all of the eggs, and apparently the modes of magic that I should not have in the egg section. Oh well. I'm not actually sure which egg that is. It looks like a boulette, if I had to guess. I don't quite see it in here. Nope, not a boulette egg. Interesting. Don't know what egg that is, but apparently it's the one that we're using. And then there's all of the loot. So let's see, Ray of Frost maybe? Let's find something a little higher. Fireball? Maybe not. Maybe not quite that high. Ah, Searing Light. Especially dangerous to undead. There we go. Okay. Yep, you're looking good. And so... Yep, that did the trick. Good. So everything appears to be intact, as near as we can tell. The spiders falling asleep when they have the sleep status effect means that the AI is fine. Yeah, I think we've gotten 112 working again. Hooray! What the hell do I do with the extra 90 minutes of this stream? Who knows? Who knows? There you go. Okay. Let's see. Summon. Hi, honey. How are you doing? You have so much more work to go. I'm not 100% sold on the like yellowish kind of like coloring down here. I feel like that might be a bit too easy to mistake for like the same coloring as her horn. Maybe they change that to more of a pale purple kind of color. Huh. But okay. Welcome back to some semblance of normality, everybody. So, when last we left off, we were working on the Broodbringer there. She is a mini-boss that's present in changeling nests and hives. And she is big and mean. Not remotely overcomable. She's not remotely insurmountable. She's in fact quite mountable. But yeah, we were working on adding her like special attacks and spells and whatnot, and then I decided to try and do 116 and break everything. Honestly, I'm slightly tempted now that we've got 112 working again to go back to 116 and see if we can make that work again. I don't know. Let me just bring the Broodbringer in. She also obviously needs a human disguise. It's more of an elf or a sylvan kind of disguise, but yeah. Weird changeling alien standing directly next to you. Ah yes, normal. I love my tall wife. Why? Oh yeah, I forgot that. I forgot we have that as like a thing. There's plenty of people in my fandom that would absolutely betroth a Broodbringer, I'm sure. But okay, yeah, I'm gonna try and get the 116 working again, just to see if it has fixed itself as instantaneously and inexplicably as it has broken itself. Because you never know. It broke in the course of me having a shower, so who knows? Oh, I think I see what I did. Not in the breaking of the 116 version, but I think I see why it didn't delete the Forge version here. Yeah. Ah, I deleted the 116 workspace. Well, that's fine. Yeah, there's the 116 workspace, but it currently has the 112 code. Ah. Well, at least I know how to fix that now. That's something. Anyways, we're probably gonna have to go back to basics on this. So might as well. Let's see, 3604. We still have all the source code. We still have everything. We just don't have the thing that we had that we had already that was broken anyways. So, it's fine. At least I know pretty decently how to get 112 working again. Do not delete project contents on disk, please. I would like those to stay where they are. If only so that I don't have to do that again. If lost, return to the wife. I could make that as an item. I could make that t-shirt as an item. I could make that as a bauble. Imagine that. Being able to wear that under your armor. Like, the shirt provides absolutely no armor protection, but it's indestructible. So, you just wear it under your armor, and then you know immediately when things are going badly when someone asks, okay, who's the wife? You need to stop falling asleep during building blocks? Oh no, what have you missed this time, Dusty? Tev mentioned something about spiders and you're confused? Oh. If you die, you respawn next to whoever is wearing the I'm the wife shirt. Oh, is Tev watching? Huh, Tev is in fact watching. Hi Tev, how you doing? Any Tevs in chat? Okay. Run configurations. Run client. So I know, is this, yeah, and that is how the MC version is formatted. Okay, good to know. Alright. Here goes nothing. So far, so good. Okay. Nope. I think it's breaking. Okay. Yeah, there we are again. So, let's see. Minecraft GL debug texture utils. Open GL debug message ID 1282, source API, type error. Severity high. Message GL invalid operation error generated render buffer not bound. Rendering is way outside my knowledge base. So I genuinely don't know how to fix that. I only know that this happened like 3 hours after I was done tinkering with rendering code. Severity equals high, well, don't use drugs. I mean, I've tried overclocking, you know, back in college. Before Elemental burst into literal smoke that one time. I'm just going to screenshot that message. And share that with the Forge folks, and maybe one of them has an idea. Drawing out the floor plan of a house you want to build in Minecraft. I've thrown down an outline and now adding a drawing of it so you'll get it right the first time instead of moving blocks back and forth. I mean, this feels like a spoon eater? Yes! I don't know that I have it in me to do more. But I can at least lay out what the plan is here. So, in February, there is a new patron server mod pack and map going together, and my hope for that is to get a mod called Create running on it, which is very much like Clockwork, like stuff. It's beautiful, I love it. I've never played with it before, but it is very much my jam. And in order to have Various Oddities running on the pack with Create, Various Oddities have to have a version that is the same version. So I have to have a 116.5 Various Oddities in order to have a 116.5 Create. It's fairly standard. So I'm hoping to get a fairly bare bones, but nonetheless, start on the modular 116 plus edition of Various Oddities for that. So we're going to be starting off with a skeleton of Various Oddities, which means that I want to have the settlement system working. and then I want to have a handful of mobs working. So currently that includes Marimo. And I came up with a folder list in the Patreon Clubhouse. Let me see. Let's see, that would be Sakura's Enderman farm, breaking the server. Let's see, where is the list? Okay, there we are. You can feel me slowly deflating with this. Sorry, I'll have to get the air pump. Let me see. Current plan is kobolds, Marimo. Marimo we ostensibly already have ish. Just a bit more tweaks than going. Goblins, rats, and scorpions. So most of the atmospheric kind of ambient mobs, but also kobolds and goblins. Giant rats and giant scorpions are included in that set. So I'll need to have the abstract scorpion, the abstract rat, but that's fine. I think people would enjoy being able to keep rats. So yeah, small rats are non-aggressive as long as there's not a nearby giant rat of the same breed. So you can keep them as pets. They will only aggro if you damage them in that case. So yeah, I figure people will enjoy that. Maybe I guess theoretically I could also add like a mouse cage or something. But yeah. Might end up with a swarm of rats, rat party. Well, I did come up with an idea of I could probably make a rats king, like, mini-boss, at least. That's not inconceivable. So, like, if giant rats are essentially the leaders of tiny rats, or regular-sized rats, I guess, then, like, a rat king would be a leader of giant rats. Oh, lord? Yes, a king. I don't know when that'll be happening, but it's a fun idea and I'd like to explore it. Especially because I've been watching Hilda recently and there's a rat king in that. There's also a bar guest in the course of Hilda, which I was not expecting. For those of you who don't know, Hilda is an animated series that's on Netflix at the moment, and it mostly deals with like Nordic kind of like cryptids and such and whatnot. So you've got like giants, you've got little gnomes that live in the in-between spaces of houses, that kind of thing, and Nissa, and a variety of other things. And then a bar guest turns up. And that surprised me more than anything, because I'm familiar with the bar guest. I'm very familiar with the bar guest, in fact, because the bar guest is a story that comes from my hometown. Like, that... I wasn't anticipating that. So, yeah, but bar guest might have to be on my list at some point. Yeah, I'm still kind of like astonished by that, honestly. Okay, so we've established that whatever is causing this problem that prevents us from booting 116 is entirely outside of my code. And I have not the slightest clue what it is or how to fix it. So, apologies folks, but I believe that's where we call it for tonight. That makes it a relatively short stream, especially with that weird blip. But, hopefully you now know how to set up Forge-ish, and how not to program and name your files. But there's not a whole ton that I can do until we get this working. Again, we did get 112 working, but I am severely spoon depleted now after all of that. Oh yeah, and you also got to have a nice little like history of my programming like career, I guess. So there's that. You got to see like my oldest Pathfinder that I ever made. One of these days I'll make something like Expression 2 in Minecraft. It'll just be computer craft basically. But yeah, let me see. My next stream is on Thursday with more Among Us. I'm hoping to get us going on to like some proximity chat for that. We'll see how that goes. Then on Saturday, we should have some more carousel with the patrons. And we'll be back for whatever I've managed to get off the ground on Tuesday. Hopefully that'll be 116, but if not, it will definitely be 112. I will just have all of my spoons, all of the spoons at my command to actually try and figure that out. You'll attempt proximity chat, but you are deaf in one ear. I don't know if we can get that working relatively well for the like community games, but we can definitely get that working for the like World of Madness folks. I know that much because we've used it before. But yeah. Other than that, I don't want to put a definite. I am still looking for horror games to play for Friday nights on Fridays. Don't know when the next one's coming, but working on it. And look out for a new episode of Meat and Metal, our RimWorld, a kind of like documentary coming out tomorrow. I'll be over at youtube.com/remembercomic, where I make videos, and everything I do is powered by people like you, so that I can have days like this, where literally everything goes wrong and it's not remotely my fault, and still actually like eat and stay warm at night over at patreon.com/lying. So enjoy that. Otherwise, that is all I got for today. Hope you've enjoyed. Catch you next time. You tried all you could? Yep. And then some.